Hi, I'm back. This is the third of 3 videos that I'm making on the AACA Fall Meet in Hershey, Pennsylvania. This is the largest car event in the world, drawing people from all over the world. Today we're going to be covering the car show. That's the Friday last day car show. This is a world-class event, AACA judged show, so you're going to be seeing some of the best cars out there. I'm going to just try and show you some of the more interesting ones, or the ones that caught my eye, or just try and show you a good mix of cars. But I'm sure I won't even scratch the surface on the cool cars that are there. So hopefully you enjoy this. Here, let's take a look. So early in the morning on this show, the crowd kind of gathers to watch all the cars come in, and you can practically see the whole show. Everybody has to drive onto the site under their own power. So you can see some great cars like this tulip-bodied Cadillac. Cadillac used this body style in 1906, 7, and 8. Not sure what year that is. But anyway, as you sit there, you can see just a great parade of cars coming onto the show field. Let's kick things off with a unique car. This is a 1934 Brewster with a unique grille. What this is essentially a 1934 Ford underneath there with a little bit of Lincoln chassis and custom coachwork by Brewster. Brewster in America was a wholly owned subsidiary of Rolls-Royce. So this is an upscale Ford at much less than the price of a full-on Rolls-Royce. This was 1934, so we're talking the Depression here. Moving up to the 1970s, we've got this 1971 Dodge Demon. The Demon was a performance option on the Dodge Dart, so this is a Dart Demon. The previous year, 1970, the performance package had been the Dodge Dart Swinger. But for 1971 and 72, we had the Demon. Then moving up into the mid-70s, the performance packages were kind of phased out. Here's a 1939 Pontiac in original unrestored condition. I really like the Pontiac silver streak badging there. It's a really cool Art Deco look. This one had an inline 6-cylinder engine. Pontiac also offered an inline 8-cylinder engine, but that had a longer wheelbase to accommodate the longer engine. But just a nice car. Here's a 1967 Ford Econoline with just great hardware store graphics on the side. This is in rare pickup truck configuration. You really don't see these too much. This is this is the last year for the first generation of Econoline. Just a long-lived brand for Ford. Just in beautiful condition here. I walked past a really nice 1937 Ford here. This is just a really nice car with the Ford flathead V8 in there. The flathead this year was offered in both 60 horsepower and 85 horsepower configurations. Nice car. Speaking of unrestored original, the car show has a whole section dedicated to unrestored original preservation cars, like this 1922 Studebaker with original inline 6, original paint, and original-ish upholstery, it looks like. But this is just a beautiful big touring car all around. Just the patina is just perfect on this thing. Can't ask for a nicer original car than this. I really like the little toolbox trunk back here, a little humpback look to it, but just a great little car here. Next to it over here, we've got another unrestored original. This one is a 1933 Ford two-door, which is just the classic look Ford original flathead V8. This is the first full year for the Ford flathead, although the 4-cylinder is still offered. Original mohair interior, just a wonderful car here too. Here's a 1970 Superbird. Everyone can recognize these things from a mile away. This is a version of the Roadrunner. This was designed to race at NASCAR, although at the time rules for NASCAR indicated that you had to actually make a production car in enough numbers to qualify for NASCAR. There you can see the Roadrunner logo on the wing. And kind of as you step back, you can see the more standard Roadrunner body there with the added wing and the nose cone out front. But just a wonderful, iconic car. 1926 Pierce Arrow with these signature Pierce Arrow headlights there, kind of fared into the fenders, a Pierce Arrow trademark. As you walk around back, you can see a feature that you see on some 1920s high-end cars is the golf bag door. Yep. That's actually designed just to slide your golf bag in there. Now there they've got a prop golf bag coming out of there, but it's got the golf bag door. This show is open to all antique cars that are defined as being 25 years old or older. So 25 years old would be 1997, which makes me feel very old. Anyway, hidden behind this Oldsmobile, we have a 1918 International truck, which I see every year, and I just love it to death every single year. We've got the original engine on there with the radiator in the back, so it gives it that sort of Mack truck bullnose look to it, with just a simple platform on the back. We've got hard rubber tires. The hard rubber tires were used mostly for city driving, but just a wonderful truck, and I like seeing it every year. Speaking of cars I like to see, here's a 1966 Chrysler station wagon. Everybody loves station wagons, and everybody loves cars that have wing windows. Those things right there. If you don't like them, then you've never driven a car that has them. This also has another great feature, the third row seat that faces backwards. A must-have if you're going to be driving a classic station wagon. Just a beautiful interior all around here. The square body. Everybody likes these too. This is a 1977 Chevy Suburban in nice brown color. Reminds me of my old Suburban that was also brown. I spent a lot of quality time in that seat. I spent a lot of quality time looking at that dash. Really brings back memories. Miss it. 1958 DeSoto Fire Sweep with the 1950s tail fins in there. Just a wonderfully styled car with 1958 names like Fire Sweep, Fire Dome, and Fire Flight. Whoever was in the marketing department was naming their cars, just had it all over the competition at DeSoto. Anyway, just a wonderful car here. 1967 Imperial. Imperial was its own mark at Chrysler this year, so it's not the Chrysler Imperial, it's just an Imperial. Top-of-the-line car, really looks nice in the black leather interior, just bespeaks luxury. Here's a 1934 auto car, cab-over truck with a fuel tank on the back, just a nice-looking truck. Here's a dump truck, 1929 Model A with a hydraulic dump bed on the back. Here's another AA. This one is a 1928 with a panel delivery body on the back. Nice Bridgeport Bread Company graphics on the side. This is something unusual over here. This is a 1946 Ford 1-ton truck fitted with an aftermarket 11-passenger Woody wagon body. According to the vehicle history that the owner had written up here, this was used to transport workers around the Bethlehem Steel plant in Pennsylvania, and apparently was rode hard and put away wet quite a few times, but has since undergone a full restoration after being saved from long-term storage. Nice car. Hey, here's a whole section of fire engines. Some great engines here, like that 1917 American LaFrance. Here's a 1925 Buffalo Brockway. That's followed by another American LaFrance. This is a 1947, and then a 1948 Ward LaFrance after that. The last engine in line over here is a 1920 Seagrave that I was really impressed with. Look at this engine. Every single cylinder is cast separately. Just a wonderful piece of machinery here. And every component on this thing has been just meticulously maintained throughout the years. It's just a beautiful piece of machinery. And the great thing that I thought about this is that they have the entire history of this thing since it was new. Here are a few pictures they have in their book showing this thing and its crew operating back in the 1920s. It really doesn't get any cooler than that. Speaking of really cool, this is a 1941 Bantam Jeep. This is a pre-war 1941 model, but by the time government contracts were awarded, they decided that Bantam just didn't have the facilities to keep up with orders. So orders were given to both Willys and Ford to also build the Jeep. Bantam was awarded a contract for some military trailers. So they did get the contracts, but this is an actual Bantam version of the Jeep. So it's a very early production. Hey, you're going to want to call shotgun on this. In the case of this 1943 International M24, the passenger seat guy gets to run the 50 cal, so you get a little something extra here, not just a regular old shotgun. Nice looking wartime military truck. Here's a pair of old Dodge trucks. There's a 1919 pickup followed by a 1921 Dodge screenside truck. By screenside, if you've heard that term, what that literally means is we've got this sort of mesh side so that your cargo doesn't fall out. Here's a 1959 Cadillac-based ambulance, a Sayers and Scoville conversion. Just a really nice original car here. If you think it looks like the Ghostbusters car, you're very close. That was a Miller and Meteor conversion, also on a 1959 Cadillac. So there's a couple of subtle differences between the two conversions, but just a nice ambulance there. Over in police cars, we've got a really neat-looking 1973 Plymouth over here. It's just a nice conversion here. But let's go back and take a look at that ambulance. Just all the details on this are impressive. Everything has been done 1959 correct. Everything in the back is just perfect with nice graphics on the side, and all the chrome has been done. Up in the cab, we can see modifications from the standard 59 Cadillac cab to accommodate all the electronics. Just an impressive car here. You like Fox body Mustangs? Well, maybe yes, maybe no. But you gotta love this 92 Police Pursuit Mustang. It's got all the special police hardware in this thing. Just an impressive little 92 Mustang. Maybe the most impressive 92 Mustang I've seen in a while. All the original 1990s radio equipment in there. Here's a 1936 Divco Model S delivery van. This is made by the Detroit Industrial Vehicle Company, or Divco for short. The following year, 1937, they would introduce the Divco Model U, and that's the classic Divco that you think of, because they produced that from 1937 virtually unchanged all the way up until 1986. 1963 Corvair 95 ramp side truck. This has that unique fold-down ramp for just driving right up into the bed. This is the competition for that Econoline truck that we saw earlier. There are other Corvair trucks that don't have that ramp. 1958 Willys Jeep FC150. The FC stands for forward control for this cab-over design. They also made an FC170 that was a little bit beefier than this, but they're always cool to see. There's the engine right next to the driver's seat, so you can fiddle around with it as you drive. Makes those manifold leaks a little bit more interesting, but always just a neat car to see on these things. This show always brings out a nice selection of trucks, like this 1953 Dodge six-cylinder job-rated truck with the Nito butterfly hood. Hey, there's a Suburban, 1954 Chevrolet Suburban, followed by a 1953 Studebaker. Studebaker was flying pretty high in 53, and another really nice 1954 Chevy. I was really taken with this 1955 GMC pickup truck. There's really an above-average amount of chrome on this thing for a pickup truck, but I don't know. It looks really nice. I think the design works. Here's a 1959 GMC, a little couple of years newer. See, it's got the quad headlights on there. This is an unrestored truck, but still kind of a nice look. Normally I'm a Ford guy, but I don't know. Second look at mid-50s GMC pickup trucks? Maybe. There's a whole section of race cars like this 1968 Lotus. The race cars are the only ones that are exempt from having to drive under their own power onto the show field, but the previous day, on Thursday, they always have what they call a race car condition run over at the stadium where they have to demonstrate that they can drive a whole lap. Oh no, this car doesn't have an engine. Oh, wait. They've got a spare back here, so they're okay. I walked up to this next car being completely confused about what it was. This is a 1986 Toyota Classic, which most of you have never seen. This is a deliberately retro-looking car made in 1986 for the 50th anniversary of Toyota. They only made 100 of them, and only for the domestic Japanese market, so they never made it over to our shores. This one has been imported from Japan, but it's just a weird, rare car. This 1955 Ford Thunderbird convertible was purchased by its current owner in 1969 for $350 with money that he had saved up as a paperboy. This was his first car ever. What caught my eye on this 91 Cutlass was the 442 badging. I guess I was unaware or maybe had forgotten that they had revived the 442 name in the early 90s as an option package on the Cutlass. But it's not just something you just never see here. Now here's a car I could ride in. There was a song back in the 1980s that specifically told me to ride the white pony. So here it is. So here's a car you don't see too much of. This is a 1972 Opel 1900 Rally. In 1973, the Opel 1900 Sport Edition would be the Opel Manta in the U.S. 1973 Monte Carlo. I always really liked the lines on these. I really don't know why. When I was in high school, a buddy of mine had one of these, so I spent a lot of hours in one. This one has kind of a cool option with the swing-out driver's seat. That's something neat that you really don't see. And these still are those. Super nice 1961 Country Squire here with the yacht paneling and the roof racks and everything. It's next to this 1960 Dodge Matador. Dodge kind of put their own spin on the tail fin concept, sometimes ending them really before the end of the car. I think that it really is something that works just because it looks different than what you expect, but nice cars. Hey, Willys made more than just Jeeps. This is a 1953 Willys Aero Eagle built in the Toledo, Ohio assembly plant. These were fairly lightweight cars with good power, so they had good power to weight ratio, so they were known as being pretty quick with good acceleration. This show just has hundreds of cars, way more cool cars than I could ever really show you in one video. So what I'm showing you is just kind of hitting around the highlights and walking around randomly. You like pre-war flatheads? We got a whole section for pre-war flatheads here. Every one of these things is just a beauty. I could spend all day looking at them. Down here on the end, we've got one that really kind of caught my eye. There's a 19 1940 Ford station wagon down on the end. We'll get to in just a second. I like the Ford station wagon. For the wagon only, they left a lot of the chrome trim off of the front, and then to give it a more conservative, higher class look. Of course, the wood part itself is just wonderful, real sight to behold. Just a wonderful car here. We've got a whole section here of small cars and microcars, like that blue Crosley we just passed. There's a Bantam. Here is a Nash Metropolitan, just an iconic 1950s small car. A Crosley Hot Shot. Here's a Fiat, little something from Italy. Another Nash Metropolitan. I really like this last Met, the convertible one. I like convertibles, and it's just got a nice paint scheme. Bunch of nice cars here. Let's take a more careful look at this Crosley Hot Shot. The Hot Shots were made from 1949 until Crosley had to close up shop in 1952. That is a 26 horsepower, 44 cubic inch, 4-cylinder engine. But these things only weighed 1,100 pounds, so they had excellent power to weight ratios. So people actually really did race these things. On the road, they can do 75 or maybe 80 miles an hour. So they're like fun little sports cars. This is a 37 Nash Lafayette 400. Lafayette had started as an independent company, but had very quickly become a wholly owned subsidiary of Nash. By this time, it was sort of a lower-priced companion car to Nash, sort of filling in a hole in the market. But you really don't see these out too much. From the category of things you probably don't see at your local cruise in, we have a couple of very classy-looking Packards, followed by a couple of Auburns. These are the real thing. As we move down to the end here, we've got a Rolls Royce. That's a real Rolls Royce down at the end. Just a really nice car. Nice car being just a little bit of an understatement here. Yeah, look at that Auburn engine. Here's a 1930 Bentley Le Mans Tourer, if you'd like that sort of thing. 1931 Duesenberg J. I repeat, this is a Duesenberg J. Really, I have nothing further to say. This is just a fantastic car. Here's a 1911 Mercer sports car. I just love to see it every year. Parked next to this really fantastic Locomobile. But really, the Mercer is something that I just love seeing every year. I wanted to point out something on the Locomobile dash that you may have never seen if you're not familiar with very early cars. See those three little glass tubes with the adjustment knobs on there? Those are for adjusting the drips per minute of oil to various locations in the engine. Speaking of the Locomobile engine, here it is. This is a 4-cylinder with the cylinders cast in pairs with a very nice polished brass manifold, copper water connections, and of course you have a tastefully varnished wire cover. I really like looking at the early cars. This one is a 1910 Auburn Baby Tanu. We have cylinders cast individually here. Interesting hood ornament. This guy had several cars with the same hood ornament, so I think that's a custom job. But anyway, just a beautiful, beautiful engine compartment here with all of the brass trim. Just a great thing. Here we have a 1909 Pierce Arrow with a copper hood that really stands out, followed by a 1908 EMF, also a very nice car. And then next to that, we have a 1905 Packard, also a very nice high-end car. The Packard has kind of an interesting history. This particular car was stripped down on weekends and raced at local tracks back in the teens. And interestingly enough, the guy that used to race it would race under an assumed name so that his wife would never find out that he was actually racing. Anyway, it's kind of cool to find the history of these individual cars, and it's great that they have the whole history of this thing since it was new. But this is just a wonderful looking car now, and it would have been great to see this back in its race days. Just a great car here. I'm starting to run a little long here, so I'm going to wrap things up with this 1906 Wayne. If you have never heard of the Wayne, that's okay. They merged in 1908 with the Northern Automobile Company, and the combined company became known as EMF. You might have heard of EMF if you're familiar with early cars, but they were later bought out and became part of Studebaker.
Hey, so that was the AACA Fall Meet Car Show. A world-class event. Hopefully you enjoyed some of these cars, and hopefully you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it. Remember to like the video and subscribe to it. Leave your comments down below, and I've got a lot more content coming. Hopefully my wrist should be better by hopefully mid-November, so I'll be able to start lifting things and doing some videos of stuff over on my own projects. So anyway, I'll talk to you later. Bye.